Welcome to the Get Smart with Money podcast. I'm your host, Dana Hernandez, financial planner and author of Get Smart with Money, Break Free from the Struggle, Build Wealth on Your Terms, and Rewrite Your Money Story. Here we talk about money, entrepreneurship, growth, and resilience, because financial freedom is about more than just numbers. Each week, you'll get practical strategies, inspiring stories, and the motivation you need to stress less about money and create more freedom in your life. Let's get smart with money together. Hello and welcome back to Get Smart with Money podcast. I have a very special guest. His name is George Thomas. He is the CEO of a financial coaching company specializing in helping families, athletes, and employees achieve lasting financial freedom through practical money strategies. Having spent over 15 years in finance, supported by his MBA and experience as a licensed banker, he brings a unique perspective to simplifying finance for those who feel overwhelmed, which is everyone, I think, or uncertain about their next steps. So thank you for being here today, George.
I appreciate it so much, Dana, and I am very excited about this conversation and just kind of connecting and just letting this thing go as we go.
Yes, me too. I honestly feel like I don't have enough people on my podcast to just talk about straight money topics like this. Everyone has like their own coaching or like their own things, that they
Yep.
do in different areas. But this is mainly why I started this show, is to really talk about money. So,
Love
and
it.
like I said, like a lot of people are just overwhelmed by money in general because no one really knows how to have a conversation about it. They don't really
Yeah,
teach anything about it in school. So that's the first hiccup right there.
that's right.
So, why do you think so many people struggle with a money mindset besides not being taught in school?
Yeah, the money mindset in general, it is a journey to achieve to it because a lot of the reality is we live in a negative world. Let's be honest. Every time you open your phone, something negative's happening. And you don't
Yep.
necessarily have to just get to social media. You put it on your phone, you got Apple News or whatever they got on Google, I'm guessing Google News. And it's never necessarily something good going on, right? It's usually
No.
something went wrong in the world, right at, 5 or 6 in the morning when you flash your phone. They want you to have a little bit of negativity.
Hmm.
Okay, so then you kind of, all right, you're up. Then you're heading somewhere you don't want to be for the next 8 to 10 hours of your day. So that's already negative part two. So then you are now remembering the last discussion you had with your loved one, which may have not went well. So you're already snowballing, and then
Hmm.
the social media. Then you open social media, and then it allows you to continue on with the momentum you had from the beginning of the day, right? And you're only an hour into your day already. Then, of course, the nonsense of the day with dealing with coworkers and the nagging boss, and it just kind of snowballs. So what happens is we get into this rut where it's just about how do I overcome some level of happiness. People just want to be happy and they're looking for happiness, they're looking for peace, whatever the case may be. But it is the fact that to get to those things, it requires them to have money. And so it is just, okay, keep working and keep making money, and I will find that pursuit of happiness that people are pursuing. The
Hmm.
reality is that in that mindset, you're losing, while you are going after money, you're losing time. And
Right.
the way the money mindset works is you are trying to win back as much time as you can, and you're trying to use money to win you time. But if you don't understand that, then how most people operate, they tend to use their most valuable asset, time, to try to get them money to try to win them time. And that's the cycle, the rat race. And then that's why people are 65 and 70 years old and barely with a savings account, here with Medicare, a little bit of Social Security, and a lot of medical bills, and not really much of a bright future. Here we go. And I think that's the problem with the mindset. It's the fact that folks don't understand the journey of what that really means is to have a true money mindset, which is you've got to flip the game where you're not using time to make you money.
Exactly. It's a it's very hard to understand that and make sense of it in your mind because we're all so conditioned to work.
Oh yeah.
And making that switch is like super foreign. And I've been trying to do it for the past 5 years because, like we were kind of discussing, I've been in debt for more than 10 years. I put myself in debt, not on purpose, of course, it just happened.
Sure. How it goes.
Yeah, so Just been trying to climb out of that hole, and I still have a job, and it's really hard to do what I want to do when I have to be at work. And
That's
that
right.
mindset switch is like I see where I need to make it, but it's not happening yet.
I think, and a lot of us can relate there. There's a lot of folks listening to this, and just in general, they have goals, they have aspirations and dreams of doing these things, and what they are ultimately deciding is their God given purpose, why they're here on earth, right? Hey, I'm good at art. I'm good at music. I'm good at, helping kids. I'm good at doing stuff overseas for less fortunate countries or whatever, right?
Hmm.
The problem is that getting to that point to being able to live in what you believe is your purpose is the ultimate difficulty, because we are conditioned and programmed from the beginning to be set up for failure. I think that's what ultimately comes down to. We go to
Yeah.
school, and we're told at a young age you need to become something. You're gonna become a doctor, you're gonna become a this, you're gonna become a that, and all those things are great. I have no problem with any of those things. The problem is that most of those things require you to pursue a further education, such as a bachelor's, which doesn't really get you far anymore, a
Hmm.
master's degree, sometimes a doctorate degree, and it is really conditioning you to become essentially an indentured servant to
Yeah.
somebody else who has figured this out, just unfortunately a lot faster than you're trending to figure it out. The time you figure it out, like, wait a minute, if I'm here, how in the world am I going to get to that goal? It's too late. You're either
Yeah.
swallowed up in student loan debt, you've probably made a couple of poor decisions along the way with credit card debt, maybe you filed bankruptcy, went through a divorce, whatever. And by then, the light bulb first came on in the room that, okay, I'm not where I should be right now if I'm getting to where I'm going to go to next. And then it's ultimately figuring out, okay, it's almost like you're on the map, like you are here. And then you've
Hmm.
got to figure out, how in the world am I getting to the other side of this map based off of here? Because according to what I'm seeing here, I got this mountain, I got an earthquake in front of me, I have to get around here. But the reality is unfortunately, it's taking the steps day by day, working your way through the map, understanding that, life got you to that point in the map, and there's nothing you can do about it unless you hit the Powerball, you get some sort of unknown inheritance or whatever. But it doesn't mean you can't get to the other side of the map. You just got to determine that no matter what, I'm going to every day take one more step closer to that goal. And then you just got
Yeah.
to find ways to accelerate it. And that's how you, whether you're multiplying your money through investing, whether you're doing all these things, you can accelerate your steps, where the walking becomes a little more of a brisk jog, and then maybe a
Hmm.
little more of a run, and then maybe at sometimes a full sprint. But most people I have found never take another step because they see where they are in the map, and they see what it will take to get over there, and it just seems too insurmountable, and they'd rather stay right where they are until ultimately they die.
Yeah. Right where they're comfortable, where they know they're not dying, they're okay. It sucks to be in that position. I've been there multiple times. I'm sure we all have.
Yeah.
It's like keeping your hand on that hot burner, just keeping it there because you're okay. But to get to the other side, what it really takes is a little more research, a little more sacrificial time.
Yep.
You have to start doing something towards something else in your free time. Kind of leads me to my favorite quote. It's not what you do from 9 to 5, it's what you do from 5 to 9.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Except, even in that quote, I have found, especially in that journey that I found myself in trying to get to where I wanted to be, that in my life, 5 to 9 wasn't enough. I found myself going from 5 to 2,
Okay.
five to
Yeah.
three.
Mm-hmm.
And I go to the gym, 5, 6 times a week, and I get up at 4:50 in the morning, hit the gym. But if I went to bed at 2 or 3 in the morning, didn't get a lot of sleep that day, but I knew where I wanted to be on the map. And so I was more than okay losing hours, multiple hours of sleep along the way, because I didn't do my end game. And looking back at it now, although it cost me a lot of sleep and I spent a lot of energy and those were some really long days, seeing where I'm at today, I'm like, okay, that's what it cost me because of where I was in the map. And so sometimes even 5 to 9 won't get you there. And it's just a matter of How bad do you really want it? Most people want it. Everybody wants something. Oh, I want it. But how bad do you want it?
Yeah.
Because it may require you to make some really uncomfortable decisions. And losing sleep, and I like sleep just like anybody else, losing a lot of sleep is a very uncomfortable decision. But for me, I really wanted it. And so that's what I pursued.
Yeah. It comes down to a lot of time management as well.
You got it.
Yeah. I'm having an issue lately with time management. So I really want to get my Series 65 license, but I work
Nice.
50 to 60 hours a week.
It's a lot.
And yeah, and I'm driving for most of it. So,
Mhm.
my brain is constantly going. My eyes are tired by the end of the day. It's kind of a physical job too. I'm carrying heavy boxes and stuff. So it's just being tired from all that is hindering me lately.
Yep.
So,
You I love what you said there. I love what you said about time management. I have found in my life that I started really catching some sales on my boat when I organized my time. I have three
mhm.
kids. I have a 9 year old, 6 year old, 5 year old. They are amazing kids. They're all boys, so it's crazy. Right now they're somewhere in the house, but there's probably madness going on wherever they're doing right now. Yeah, and then of course I've been married. Next year will be 10 years to my wife.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Congrats.
And then, we're very involved, aside from just the business, we're very involved in our community, or our church. We do a lot of things. Just last weekend, we had a sleepover, lock-in sleepover with the youth of our church. So, got a whole bunch of 15 and 16-year-olds up till like 1 or 2 in the morning. I'm like half asleep trying to stay awake. And then I'm sleeping on the floor after the fact. The next day I feel it, 'cause I'm like, okay, I'm definitely not young enough to be doing this anymore. But the point in all that is like those that's just life. And life, I'm in a good place in life, right? I'm doing it, I'm happy, right? I'm doing the things that fully fulfill me. But it wasn't until I organized my time that I didn't find the success that I was looking for. I mean, trying to stay active, trying to stay fit. You're
Mhm.
working a full-time job. You're trying to pursue a passion that you're really serious about. You have obligations in your home, right? We were talking about before the show, right, with your kiddo and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's okay. How can I be able to be present in all of the important things, but still giving everything its appropriate time? Unfortunately, you can't buy more hours in the day, so that's where the tough part comes in. But to your point, organizing your time. I have everything on my phone as a schedule. You would think, okay, that seems boring, but I'm like, if it's not organized, you're not really progressing. So everything, okay, I got this with the kids. The kids got jujitsu. My other kid got basketball. The other one got flag football. I got to work. I got a Bible study to go to. I got a seminar I'm hosting, a financial class. We're doing this. I have a coaching session. I'm working with this. I'm doing this. And yes, it can't all be done in one day, but can you organize yourself by day, for the week, for the month, for the quarter, and then just stick to the schedule, stick to your plan? That's where you find progress. And so I love that you talk about time management, because I think it's a really slept on thing, even with finances.
Oh,
Time
yeah.
management is very coordinated, is correlated with your finances, because if you organize your time as it pertains to your finances, it's the same thing. Okay, every 2 weeks I'm going to be putting this amount of money into my Roth IRA. Every month on this date of the month, I'm going to review my expenses from the previous month, etc., 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 etc. So just organizing your time will create a lot of things that will start to breed success because of it. You know.
Yes. Agreed. For sure. I used to be very good at it. And this job's just wiping me out right now. So, so I like that whole thing though about having literally everything in your schedule, which I've heard that many times, but that's probably what I should start with.
I think it's a great idea. And
Yeah.
again, I'm lost without, but otherwise I would be lost. I would be completely lost. I would be missing things left and right. I got so many things going on in my life, but if it's not organized by the week, by the day, yes, but by the week and by the month, because then you can forecast, okay, you're going to know when are your harder days, when are your harder weeks, when are the harder
Right.
parts of your week, so that, okay, next week I know it's going to be a busy week. So this week, okay, I'm going to go to bed a little bit earlier, because I know by next week, as long as I stick to the schedule, I will be exhausted by Saturday. Hey, I'm going to call in a night early today. Got a long
Hmm.
week coming up. Whatever the case may be. But if you don't have those things organized, especially if you're trying to get to some of these goals, ain't happening. Ain't happening.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
So, what is one common money mistake you see all the time?
Man, you talked about those one you brought up, which is a good point, and I do want to harp in a little bit on that one. Debt in general is a something that obviously we need to work on to making sure we're full control of. However, to me, a misconception is that all debt is bad debt. I don't agree with that personally. Matter of fact, in most cases, especially depending on what your audience is here, and many people listening to this are probably what I'm about to say probably does apply. Your big goals will require you probably to go into debt. I'll repeat, a lot of your big goals will require you probably to go into debt. And it's not really far fetched. Give you a great example. Many people would love to what? They would love to buy a home. Okay. So not having any debt says, okay, you need to save up $300,000 or $400,000 and then you buy it cash and then you buy your house so that you don't get into debt. So in that case, obviously we know most people like, oh, I'm not doing that. It's impossible. I'll never get it. So I have to get a what? A mortgage. Well, a mortgage, you're signing off to be in debt for an extended period of time, paying interest. That seems to be a taboo comment. You're paying interest and all this stuff. But without that, you're not getting the asset without the debt.
Right.
So why is it okay there, right? Oh, because it's the asset I'm acquiring. Well, so that's a different thing now we're talking about. Some debt allows you to acquire an asset which builds more equity that offsets the liability that you're taking on. That's a different source. So a misconception of all debt is bad debt. I don't find that to be true. I wouldn't be a multi-property owner of real estate if it wasn't for debt. Now, I know how to manage my debt accordingly. So for example, I'll just give you a quick example on this one. So in one property, my first property, I remember this was many years ago. I was nervous as heck about getting my first rental property. My wife and I were there and we're just like, man, we want to do this and we think we can do this. But the first thing I thought about was, man, that's a pretty hefty mortgage that I'm going to put under my name that now I have to finish paying off for. And that really makes me nervous. Why? Because it's the concept that I have more what? Debt. So I'm worried about the debt. The reality was that the property itself that we acquired, let's say, for example, for the sake of the discussion today, the mortgage, let's say, was $1,800, $1,800, okay, a month. Okay, so every month I have to find somebody that's going to cover $1,800, so that debt's going to fall on me, and the debt is a few $100,000. I'm nervous, etc., etc. The property itself was beneficial because the property had a main residence, which I think was like a 3-2, but onto this connected with it, it had an in-law suite that had its own private entrance that was a 1-1. So what we ended up deciding to do was, okay, instead of just giving this to one family and, hey, you guys have the whole house, pay us $1,800, what we ended up doing was, okay, we're going to rent out the 3-2 and we'll rent it out for $2,000. So that gives us a little bit of a buffer. But then the in-law suite, we were able to say, okay, but we're going to rent this out to someone completely different. And that could be their own home, their own entrance, etc., with a kitchen, the bathroom, the whole thing. And we can rent that out, let's say, for $1,200, right? So suddenly now, I got $2,000 coming in on one, $1,200 on the other. That's $3,200. But my mortgage was what? $1,800. So yes, I acquired a debt, but the asset created equity that offset my liability. And I had excess money left over every single month. But again, if I was afraid to get into debt, where would I be today? I would have missed out on a great opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
And I've been able to do that process multiple times. So we go back to the journey of, okay, how can you pursue financial freedom, the money mindset, right?
Yeah.
I've been able to do that a few times. So a few times a month, multiple properties probably have over $1 million worth of debt. But all of those things have generated me income that far exceeds the liability. So that's the first misconception, is that all debt, there is bad debt. I understand that. But not all debt is bad debt. It's just a matter of, what are you getting for the debt you're acquiring? Is it an asset that can create equity and then offset your liability? Or are you acquiring a debt that's going to further reduce the amount of income you're coming in? That in itself could be bad debt.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Good job. That's so cool. I haven't heard anyone actually talking about that. I'm sure people do that other than you, but yeah. No, that's just a money-making machine right there.
The money mindset. I think
Yeah.
that's what it comes down to. And here's the thing, right? This is what it comes down to. Most people would work overtime for that. And in this case, I've acquired an asset that in that example makes me $1,400 a month extra. Times 12 is what, like 15, 16, 16 grand that I'm doing literally nothing for. So I have advanced myself further financially by 15 or 16 grand a year, of course, minus the expenses and repairs. I get that piece. But
Right.
it's income coming in. So can you do that two, three, four times? Imagine doing that four times.
Yeah.
Four times over, that's 60 grand. That's somebody's salary. And I'm not spending what? Time. Someone is living in this property and it's generating me that money. So I got the time back with the money. Okay, so what can I do with my time? Hey, I want to go again, the orphanage, the art studio. What? That's how you win back your time. You're trying,
Hmm.
the money mindset is trying to generate money and income. You advance your financial agenda without using time or as
Yes.
minimal as possible.
I'm sure that's got a bunch of people's heads spinning right now. All the gears are turning because that is a completely like understandable, tangible way to get more money in your pocket.
That's right.
And also you're helping other people out too.
Helping other people. I love that you said that. I love that because if you hear a lot of the things I say, like behind the stuff about me, you can start to unpack. Like, okay, he has a thing. He has a heart for people, right? I spend time with the youth. I do stuff in the church. So the beautiful part is you get to help people give themselves a safe place to be, that they can raise their kids, that they can do this, they can do that, and that they have attentive people that are supportive. It's a lot of things into one thing. I think I love the fact that you say that you really get to help. It's not really about the money. There are times where we've made decisions where are not business sense, but it's for the good of the people there, because hey, if this will help them with whatever the situation is, they will continue to what? Help your financial agenda long term. They
Yeah.
are still paying my mortgage. I don't have the mortgage. So if I can make your life easier for you to continue to do that, I will do that because I do care about the individual, but you are not hindering the journey.
Yeah, I love it. I love
Yeah,
it. And the whole thing about financial anything, coaching, services, investing, you're helping people
that's right.
with the topic that nobody even wants to talk about most of the time.
Yep.
And you got to try and open that door for people to somewhat feel comfortable to talk about it because it is very important to talk about. And that's probably one of the most important topics, if not the most important topic to talk about with your spouse.
Mm,
For sure, because you have to plan for the future. If you're dating somebody that has like a bunch of tax liens and everything, like that's kind of a
mm,
problem. It's going to hinder both of you in the future,
that's right.
So you need to be aware of who you're with and what they've done and how their credit is. Like it's a huge conversation that needs to happen.
That's exactly right. I'm with you on that. Transparency is key. Creating, even creating real scenarios. I remember, I mean, obviously, I met my now wife, of course. I met her over 13 years ago, and I remember even months in, like something that was important to me was okay, we need to understand, like our viewpoint, our perspective when it comes to money, because once we go into the real world, like, and they say we become long term, which obviously we did, best decision of my life. But I think once we got into that, I needed to know, okay, what am I working with, and she needed to know, okay, what's she working with. So the first thing we did months in, we opened a savings account, and
Mhm.
then together, and then we decided that okay, we're gonna start putting money towards a house, and we're gonna you put whatever you're gonna put, I'm gonna put whatever I'm gonna put, and just so on and so forth. So one thing we started learning was right early on, okay, I could see she was not really very disciplined with her money because she wasn't always putting it in monthly. Now, I didn't think it was like some sort of bait and switch. I think it was just really a case study. But then she would see that not only was I putting money into the account, but then I would put extra into the account like as I went. And so she saw,
Mhm.
okay, he's pretty solid with money. And so to your point, like a lot of these things people try to figure out like once they're married, focus too much right now on the butterflies and
You're right.
and the other little things that come into the, obviously is a PG show, but I think there are a lot of more meaningful conversations to be had, and finances for sure is one, because a lot of times in relationships and in marriages, one of the biggest reasons for divorce after infidelity is finances.
Yeah, that's a huge statistic, actually. It's crazy. It's really
Yep.
sad because it's something that can be worked on. But if you let it go too long, it's almost impossible to come back from. Yeah.
Absolutely. It can really derail people. We've worked with so many people and different couples throughout our program. And, you hear a lot of the sad stories of where they are. And it's almost like, listen, I'm hearing everything that's going on here. I'm not a counselor, though. I'm not Dr. Phil. I'm just here to help with the finances. But then you're caught in the weeds and you're this and this is why your mom is like this. You just like your mom. And it's like, we're just talking about the budget. I don't know how we got to here and whatnot, but to your point, it creates a level of tension. Finances, especially when they're not in order, even if you're by yourself, you can get stressed out, right? Like, man, I'm stressed out,
Oh,
man. I'm
yeah.
trying to do this. Imagine a whole nother individual with feelings and perspective of their own, differing opinions at times in the same mix, impacted the same way you are, and you guys have both elevated levels of stress. God forbid if there's children involved. I mean, they can just start to add up very quickly. And so,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's important for couples to be on the same page. It doesn't always have to be going in the right direction. There are times things don't go in as planned, but as long as you guys are on the same page, with whatever's going on, especially financially, I think it helps a long way.
Yeah. Super
Yeah.
important. So when it comes to budgeting, what do you recommend people start with?
Man, that can go a whole lot of different directions there. But one of the first thing I would tell you, there's a lot of things we tell our clients, but one thing I would say as a tip would be you gotta pay yourself first. At some point you gotta pay yourself first. If you don't pay yourself, you'll never, ever, ever pay yourself, because there will always be a reason that you can't pay yourself. Debt will
Mm-hmm.
always exist, an unfortunate event, whatever. Now, when people hear pay yourself can mean a lot of different things, though. Doesn't necessarily mean you get some sort of allotment so you can go to to the Gucci store to get yourself some new stuff, or whatever, Prada, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what that necessarily means. Paying yourself means you're doing something for your benefit. That
Yeah.
it's not just bills or whatever. So it could be an allowance so you can go have a little fun money, whatever. It could be, depending on how tight money is, it could be to treat yourself to your favorite restaurant every 2 weeks or every month. You're paying yourself because that money could be going to paying off credit card debt or putting to your mortgage or whatever. But you're
Exactly.
doing this, right? You're still
Yeah.
paying yourself. It can go towards your retirement. It can go,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'm putting money, I started investing, I'm trying to get into this investing. I'm gonna start putting $50 a month into investing. Okay, but you're paying yourself. That's going to your benefit and it's gonna pay you interest over time. So that's a way you're paying yourself. Saving money. Hey, I'm gonna put money to savings. Okay, that money's going into that account. It can go into other things, but you're putting it into here because you want to store it for a rainy day. But in some capacity, those are just some examples. You've got to pay yourself first, and you've got to find a way to do that proactively, because if you don't, that's why people
Yes.
feel like they're living paycheck to paycheck and getting nowhere, and they're not seeing anything, is because everything's going. Now, somebody may say, okay, so if I do that, how am I going to pay a bill? What it's going to force you to do is one of two things. What's going to force you to do is either A, you'll have to make some more money, whether it is another job, whether it's an overtime, side hustle, that's trading time for money, but it will force you to do that. Or, which is the other way, which doesn't require time, it will force you to cut an expense that you currently have that you may currently think is necessary, but if things got tight, you may realize it wasn't as necessary as it was. So, for example, not a sponsor, none of the sort, but Netflix. Okay, I need Netflix. I don't have cable. Okay, fine.
Mm-hmm.
But if you had no job for 6 months and money was really tight, you would get rid of Netflix, because Netflix ain't gonna fill your tummy, it's not gonna fill your fridge, and it's not gonna keep your kids fed. So you would get
Right.
rid of Netflix in the right circumstance. So my point is if you pay yourself and you're still seeing that things are, it may force you to make another decision that is currently not in your financial benefit. So that's why I say pay yourself first.
Mm.
Usually you will revert to other solutions to offset the fact that you paid yourself first.
Yeah. And I do want to add to that. That is probably the most important thing, like you said, to do also because I, for a lot of years up until more recently when I had to start working a little bit extra, but up until then, when I was like really deep in the debt hole, I never paid myself like that. Like it's really important to like go get that coffee or something for yourself. Go get that takeout meal that you've been craving for how long now? I
Yes.
never did that stuff because I always just, I guess one was kind of like punishing myself for doing that to myself.
Yeah.
And two, just I would always just say, I can't afford it. I have bills to pay. So I would just really limit and budget myself to the max. And I would always go over like my extra expenses and stuff like, oh, do I really need that? Do I really need this? And I would cut literally as much as I could out, and it still wasn't enough. Like, we still got to live. We still need lights,
That's right.
in the house. So there's really only so much you can cut out, but cut out the stuff you don't actually need. But that was like a huge thing, and still I'm a lot better than I was like mentally, but like mentally that messed me up
I
because
can't
I
imagine.
didn't treat myself at all.
Yeah.
So it is really important to treat yourself a little bit here and there. Don't hinder yourself and take joy away
Yep.
by saying, well, this has to go to bills because that's not how to live. Like the
Well,
bill collectors are going to get their money anyway.
not only that, I agree with you. And the other thing is that that's why people go further into debt because you can only hold on for so long. And then it's just like, you know what? Whatever. Let's say you had a long day at work, something happened, whatever. You know what? I'm taking a night out in the town, whatever. And then you're going
Hmm.
out and you're getting a whole bunch of drinks, and all of a sudden your bill went 350, 400. But here's the thing. The reason you feel that is because you feel so confined for so long, you just need to stretch out and get loose. But if you were
Yeah.
just appeased to it, feeding the inner child, if you will, not calling us
Hmm.
children, but it's the inner child, right? Like, I got to do something. I need this. I
Yeah.
need this. It will appease and it will temper the emotions a little bit because you did something for yourself so that it doesn't come in an explosive reaction later, and it's usually far more than what you would have done had you done a little bit along the way to enjoy life. So I agree with you completely.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes
Mm-hmm.
a lot of sense. It'll
Yep.
snowball and get out of control if you don't
Yep.
just every so often get yourself a little treat or something because
You got it.
it's no fun budgeting like that. I've lived
Nope.
in Reno for 8 years, going on 9 years now, and I feel like I haven't really gotten to enjoy what's out here too much because I would always limit myself so much.
Yeah, I was just
It
in Vegas.
sucks.
I was just in Vegas in April, and that's an expensive place over there
Oh,
to be
yeah.
living. But I had a great time. I went with my wife. We went to a lot of different shows and restaurants and all that. I've been there twice. I do like Vegas a lot. But if you don't get to enjoy life, it's difficult to get to. I'll put it to you like this: it's difficult to get to the other side of the map without enjoying life along the way.
Hmm.
You may think, "Oh, I'm taking a step back." You might be, but I'd rather take a half a step back than to feel confined. And now I'm taking 5 steps back.
Yeah.
A half a step back today, you can make that up in a week or two. You're not gonna lose any sleep over that. But if you take a serious step back and you can go back months and weeks or completely undo any progress you started along the way. So you're not gonna get there in a sprint. You're not gonna get there overnight. It took you a journey to find yourself where you are today. So you are going to have to give yourself time to get out of the situation and get back on the road of where you want to be because it took
Hmm.
you a journey to get to this spot. So you're gonna have to
Hmm.
take a journey to get out. You can't skip the steps. A lot of times people they get into this thing and they're now all of a sudden they're reformed. Oh, you know what? I'm taking my finances serious, and in 3 days I'm not seeing any progress. Hold on.
Yeah.
You were just blowing that credit card for 15 years. You're 3 days in. I mean, can you give yourself some time to work out of it? I mean, it took you this long to get there. So sometimes people don't give themselves the ability to enjoy the process, and the process is a journey of days taking some steps forward and some days taking a steps back.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, agreed. So, what is one piece of advice that you can give listeners today besides saving money for yourself? That's definitely top importance, but what would be like a just some good advice that somebody can start with today.
You got to be investing. That's the number one advice I would give anybody. Budgeting and all that. Our financial company, we have 6 pillars, and we go in order and we emphasize all of them. It's expense management. We always start there.
Yep.
Budgeting, savings growth, net income growth, investing, which happens to be by far the most popular pillar we have, and then succession planning, which is like estate planning and trusts and all that fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you listen. If you are listening to this and you are afraid to lose your money through investing, you will safely be in the same situation until you're about 60 or 70.
Mm-hmm.
That is very risky. Now, that's risky business. Putting your money into the market and learning how to invest, learning the ins and outs of investing. How does it work? How does it operate? How do you take advantage of it? How can this accelerate you amassing wealth significantly faster than just getting money and saving money? You got to learn how to invest. Can't be afraid to invest. Everyone in our community is actively investing. Now, the beautiful thing is that we have people that have been investing for a while, and then they take advantage of the fact that we have a platform that we give folks daily things to consider in the market, what's going on in the market, stocks to consider, hot stocks that are available, etc., etc., trading opportunities. We give investing opportunities. We do all those things. So for those that are like savvy investors, it's great because a lot of investing is finding the opportunity, right? And that takes time. You got to scope it out. You got to know what you're looking for, etc., looking at the chart patterns, all this. Well, if we can provide you those avenues and things to look at without you having to go hunting for information and give it to you where, okay, it's in front of me. Let me look at the opportunity. Do I want it or not? If I do, I know how to pursue it. If I don't, so that's very convenient, especially when people are busy and running around. But we have a lot of people that they never invested until they got into financial freedom builders. And it is the journey of them learning how to invest with us. And that is powerful because they are literally learning every day, becoming more comfortable with putting their money into risk. Of course, calculated risk. We're not just throwing our money into this random meme coin and saying, oh man, do what you got to do. It's not going to do anything for you. So,
Mm-hmm.
with calculated risk, understanding what you're getting involved into. But for anybody listening to this, you can't get to your end destination without investing. It's just not possible. So much so that your employer knows that more than you do. That's why they offer you the 401k because
Mm-hmm.
they know, hey, I can't pay you enough to retire you, buddy. And since you don't know any better, we're going to tell you, hey, we got the 401k. You may not know this, but you'll thank me later somewhat, especially if you decide to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
But you can't get there without investing. And so what I would encourage everybody is that if you're not actively investing into your future, you need to start tomorrow. Like I would not
Yes.
wait from the moment you hear this. I would start tomorrow. And if
Mm-hmm.
you don't know what you're doing, you're in very good company because most people don't know what they're doing. Matter of fact, 98% of people that are actively investing are not making money. So most people don't know what they're doing. So you're in good company. So then step 2 for you is that okay, I've gotten to the point where I'm comfortable and I'm ready to invest. Find somewhere, someone, some who's, whatever. Find someone to give you the necessary education to help you learn how to navigate those decisions so that you can save yourself a lot of headache in the future. But investing creates another way of money being made without using time, your time in particular. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
goal of the money mindset.
Yeah. I know a lot of people are probably wondering, well, how much do I need to invest? What do you mean exactly?
Yeah, great question. Listen, we tell people all the time. Number one is you can't be you got to put money in there that you're willing to lose. Now people say I'm not willing to lose any money. Okay, so then again, you can safely continue doing what you're doing. So at least you're 65 or 70. Personally, me, I will be long, far away from anything of that sort by the time I'm 65 or 70. By then, I might be doing God knows what. But you can start with $5. You can start with $10, $20. It's not so much about the money. That's the other thing I would tell people. Don't get lost in the amount of money. Get lost in the habit you are trying to build with
Mm-hmm.
consistency.
Yes.
You start building this, money will come because remember, You'll either get a job, new job, you get a new promotion, you may start a new side hustle, you may start a whatever, you may get an inheritance, you may get a lawsuit settlement, whatever. But the habits is that you're building so that when the money comes in, you know exactly what you are doing with money coming in. If I give PS, if right now anyone in your audience, I tell them, okay, pick somebody in your audience, I'm gonna send them cash $50,000. They're not gonna the first day, okay, I'm gonna go buy whatever, right? It's the habits you're trying to build. You're trying to build the right habits, and that's what I would say with investing. Don't get lost in how much money you're putting in. It's really getting lost in the process of building consistency in investing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And then to go back to the 401k,
Uh-huh.
I would say if your company is offering a 401k and you're not taking any advantage of that, you need to start. Especially if your
Yes.
company is matching it, that's free money.
Yes.
Put like 2% in. That's what I'm
Yep.
doing right now because I was so in debt and everything. I was like, well, I'm gonna start this, so I'm just gonna put like a super small amount.
Yes.
So it's something, and then they match it. So it's free money. And then when you're done with this company, roll it out, put it in something safer where it's going to continue to grow. You can always wait a bit until you get like a larger chunk. You can invest that in some other type of way, but that's like free money coming in.
Exactly
It
right.
401ks are in the stock market, yes. So when the stock market drops, your money in there drops, but it's still important to have. And a lot of people don't even know that about 401ks because your employer is not going to tell you the details. They're just going to be like, hey, we have this for you. And
That's
that's
right.
about it.
And a lot of times those employers don't even know what they don't even know. They got a fund manager doing all that stuff on the back end. They don't
Yeah.
even know. We have it with I don't want to name companies, just defamate anybody, but they're with this company. They're great. They have a great matching program, and that's pretty much all they know. But like, what specifically, what are they contributing, what are the plans, etc. A lot
Yeah.
of times you gotta talk to the plan manager. But I would tell you if you haven't done that anytime recently, a lot of times most people haven't done this. I can tell you, I've too many people to know. Most people don't even know who their fund manager is and what's their name. Is it
Yeah.
even a male or a female? I mean, could we start with that? Is it a male? Is it a guy? Is it a girl? Most people don't even know that. So, what I would tell everybody, maybe between now and the end of the year, I know the holidays might get tough because people got PTO and whatever. But if you can do it between now and the end of January, actually, I'm gonna do a quick station break on that. I'm actually gonna say I would probably make that rather more aggressively at a homework for those that are listening to this between now and the
Mhm.
end of January. I would have you tell you to call and talk to your fund manager and ask questions. Ask them some of the questions. These are some questions, personally, me, I would tell you to consider asking. Number one is maybe give you an understanding of what your money's invested into. That's number one.
Mm.
Number
Yeah.
two, why? Ask why. Why are these being selected? Why did you select these? They'll give you the reason. Another thing I would ask is the fees. See, what people don't realize is that these fund managers that are handling your 401k, you don't I mean you're essentially you have somebody managing an account that you don't have responsibility for yourself, and they are responsible for growing it for you.
Hmm.
You think that's free? No, 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 no. Everybody got to get paid. So there
Yep.
are fees that these fund managers are charging you for the work that they're doing for you. You might want to inquire, what are their fees? Now, there probably was a document your HR person gave you, you never read it, you threw it in the trash, your kid wrote all over it, whatever. But you may want to at least familiarize yourself a little bit. What are the fees that they're charging? And then ask, why? Is it comparable to industry standards? Maybe do some research. Ask, hey, is this negotiable? Are we able to work out these rates? You may want to at least call, especially going into next year. I think there's some headwinds coming into next year personally that we've been preparing for all year this year in our financial community. We've been preparing that all year for next year and 27. I just think that people getting to know who their fund manager is going to be very important. And I think that's something that we can leave as a homework for everybody actively
Hmm.
to them
Hmm.
to call their 401k manager between now and the end of January.
Yes. Yes. Have you heard anything about a recession possibly happening? I keep hearing that.
Yeah. If you ask, what's this guy, Kiyosaki? He's been thinking a recession's been gonna go on for the last 15 years.
Right.
And like they say, a dead clock is right twice a day. So at some point, he's gonna, I told you. So then he's gonna be right that day. and then he's gonna ask for followers because he was right. And but leader needs to say the other 14 or 20 years that he's been doing this, that gets stuffed under the rug. I can tell you that I in our assessment there are a few things that are catching our attention that are alarming. Number one is that we're seeing that there is an increase in the unemployment rate. That's not fortune telling or predicting the future or gloom and doom or whatever. I think that's just a reality that there's an increase in unemployment. We're seeing a lot of layoffs, and I think that's unfortunately going to continue, which is going to create other problems in the economy. See, if these people are coming off of work, these are now people that are not going to be actively looking for reasons to spend money because now they have to wait till more money comes in so that I can continue making bad financial decisions. But since no money's
Mm-hmm.
coming in, now bad financial decisions are on a timeout. And
Yeah.
so the companies who were benefiting from those bad financial decisions, they're like, "Yo, we're all the financially illiterate. I don't see them. Well, they don't have a job right now, so they're not able to contribute to you." So now these businesses
Right.
may also start feeling the crunch because of these layoffs, right? So that's a dynamic in play that I find interesting. With the increased layoffs, another thing that we're seeing is that okay, most people through their jobs get what?
Money.
Well, yes, money, of course. And what else do most people get through their jobs?
Benefits.
Benefits. And one of the big ones in benefits is insurance. So
Yes.
if you don't have a job, yes, Cobra's okay, but Cobra's really expensive. If you can't find a job right away, which is becoming a lot more difficult for people to find a job, well, then how in the world can you get health insurance? Which
Right.
is a problem we are already seeing because the current administration at hand is talking about ways for folks to be able now to apparently shop around for their own what? Health insurance. So they're
Mm-hmm.
already seeing this tailwinds because they're talking about ACA and the Obamacare. This is where this thing is going into next year with the midterms. Healthcare is going to be a flaming hot topic because these layoffs happening and these folks not having jobs. Health insurance is going to be a big problem next year. People are gonna come back on the show and they're gonna like rewind this like 15 times, like, oh my god, what was this guy talking about? Like the fortune teller.
Yeah.
But this is gonna
Yep.
be a big thing next year.
No, you're
So
right.
that's another problem. In addition to that, you have the yields, right? The yields continue to rise and to continue to climb. So that's another problem that we're seeing in the tailwind. Another thing that I'm seeing
Yeah.
that's interesting is that the precious metals in general, gold and silver, copper, all these other, they're
Yes.
continuing to climb to new heights and new highs. So when those things climb, is because people have uncertainty about the dollar. And so to answer your question, but not really answer your question is do I see a recession? I won't say yes nor no, but what I will tell you is that if it smells like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's not a mongoose. That much I do know. And
Yeah.
so I'm smelling things that smell like said thing, but I will leave it at least with a little bit of a window to say anything can happen to reinvigorate this economy, such as a stimulus, which has already also been talked about, to try to get these
Mm-hmm.
things. But they're trying to get in front of this thing as quick as possible because they are seeing that we got some really big problems up ahead. The only
Yes.
question becomes, which is why I don't know if we will or will not, is will they be able to course correct this quick enough before the imminent collapse happens? And that's going to be one of the interesting
Yes.
stories coming up.
Uh-huh. No, I agree with all that.
Yeah.
That was great. Well, I really loved this conversation, and I really hope that it got gears turning for everyone listening in some sort of capacity, because again, this is why I started this show. And I would just like to help people with their debt, money problems, and looking ahead, being proactive, because I wasn't so much like that myself. So thank you for being here today, George.
Likewise, and yeah, if anything, just feel free to continue to connect through Diana. We'll leave obviously information about us if you guys are willing to connect. If you guys have any questions, we're always happy to have
Yes.
conversations. But no, I definitely appreciate the invite on this, and I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
Yes. Oh, and where can people find you?
Yeah, so if they, if you're looking for us, we're easily accessible on, through the internet, www.financialfreedombuilders.net. That's probably one of the easiest websites you can find us on there. But a second way, we do have a social media page. It's pretty entertaining. It's pretty informative. So we do give good information, but I just kind of leave it light for entertainment. But at the Financial Constructor. So if you're not like, it's almost like constructing, but it's the constructor. So the Financial Constructor on Instagram, you can find us there. And we've been told we're a pretty good follow and pretty entertaining. So you're welcome to
Okay.
follow us on there as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to.
Very good.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again for being here. Hope you have a good rest of your night.
Appreciate it. And we'll talk soon. Thanks so much, Dana.
Yes, you're welcome. Have a good one.
All right, bye.
Bye. Please like, review, share, and subscribe to this podcast and follow us on Instagram at GetSmartWMoney Podcast, as well as checking out our website at GetSmartWithMoneyPodcast.com.